So today, I want to talk to you about voiceover quotes and what you need to include in them.
Every moment is a teachable moment.
One of the most frequent questions that I get asked is how to provide a voiceover quote. What items need to be included? And so there are a few things that are super important to include in that quote. Number one, first of all, thank the client for the opportunity. And make them aware that you are thrilled to be considered as the voice for their project or their brand or their service and whatnot. The next thing you want to do is make sure you understand the scope of the job, and you want to repeat that scope of the job in your quote. So if they're asking you for how much would it cost to record these 2 pages of corporate narration for an internal video, you want to make sure in your voiceover quote that you're going to include the name of the company and also attach the script, and make sure that you've attached a script or they've given you a script that you are quoting on. If they ask you how much would it cost for 2 pages, make sure you ask them for the 2 pages first so that you can give them a more accurate quote. So once you get the actual pages or the actual script, whatever it is they want you to record, you can then calculate how long that's going to take you to record, and how much. You can go to your rate guide, you can go to the GVAA rate guide, and you can kind of base a rate off of that. Now, you also want to make sure that you get from the client what their usage is. Is it going to be broadcast? And if it's going to be broadcast, where will it be broadcast, and for how long will it be broadcast for? If it is non-broadcast, then you want to find out how long the script is and where they're going to use it. Okay, so when you are actually giving them a quote, make sure that you reiterate the script that they've given to you, and then say, I'm pleased to offer a quote for voiceover services for the following. And then I say voiceover services for the company name, for whatever the project name is. When I'll also put the approximate number of words, or I'll put the scope of it, 30-second commercial, local markets, and then the markets that they've told me, or I'll put, corporate narration, approximately, 3,000 words or whatever that might be. And then I will say for a fee of, and I will put my fee right there in the beginning. And then after that, I will tell them what that fee includes. Okay. I'll make sure that I say this fee includes, and I usually, for my clients, if it's a non-broadcast, if it's a narration type, I'll usually include up to 10% of the final word count for revisions on me, and that way it makes them seem like there's a value add there. Now, if there is a commercial or some other broadcast style voiceover, typically they're not going to be changing that script. You hope they're not going to be changing that script. And if so if there are changes post delivery of that audio, you want to make sure that you put a statement in your quote that says there may be fees, additional fees, post delivery for any script changes. Any mistakes, I usually put that in there, that are on me, are included in the cost as well. I also specify that the client may direct me at any time live if they would like. I usually put a time limit on that, especially if it's a longer format voiceover. I don't really necessarily want a client to be directing me for hours upon hours, and nor do they. And if that is the case, typically I have to cut out the audio from them because they'll be on the line with me while they're directing me, and I'll have to do some additional post work for that. So I want to make sure that I make the offer that I am available for live directed sessions if they would like. Otherwise, I will give them a time frame as to when I will be able to complete that job. Now, typically in the back and forth between the client and me, I will ask them if they have a time limit, because if they have a rush on that, that might be an additional fee that I will charge. But typically for, commercial, that's usually done within the same day. I like to say that I can do most of my voiceover jobs within 24 hours. However, if I have a long script, I will also specify that may take more than 24 hours delivery. And then I'll specify how I'm going to deliver those files. Those will be delivered via email, via Dropbox, via WeTransfer, however that will be. And I also want to make sure that I understand what format the client would like those files to be in. Do they want WAV files? Do they want MP3 files? Do they want both? Typically, I will specify that. And then I'll also, of course, at the end of the quote, after I specify all of that, I will thank them and then give them my phone number as well as my website and this email in case they have any questions or they want to contact me again. Now, if I get the opportunity, I always find it really nice to actually connect with my client on the phone or via a Zoom session or video, because that just gives it a little more, I'm going to say, a little more personal contact, a little more personal attention. And it also helps me to see that they are a real client. And I'm not just writing quotes back and forth in the ethers. Now, when I specify that price, I will also add a line, a disclaimer in that says, please let me know if this fits within your budget. Now, when I say that line, that actually invites the client to know that, well, if I quoted, beyond their budget or way high, there's an opportunity to still work together and that I'm willing to negotiate. But that is only after I have asked them if they have a budget. And that's the very first question I asked my clients, because if they have a budget that's higher than I ever intended, I'm certainly going to accept that budget. And if they come back with a budget that's really low, then I will have to really, do some soul searching to understand if I want to bring that client on as one of my clients, accept the lower rate, and then, continue. Maybe there'll be a long-term relationship, or maybe it's just, below my rate guide and I won't be able to do that amount of work. Because if that does happen, remember, it's not always a bad thing to say no. It allows you the time to actually find clients who will pay you what you're worth. So always remember to ask for the budget first. Make sure in your quote you're specifying all of those different items so that everything is clear. Make sure you're attaching the original script and then your quote, and of course offering your contact information for any additional questions, and of course thanking them for the opportunity. If you'd like more business tips, make sure to check out my videos here. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.